Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Salt Project Community Open Hour for August 18th. I am Chunga, Jimmy Chunga, if you're nasty. I'm the Salt Project Community Manager, and I'm glad you're all here. Thanks for taking the time to make it. Here's where you can find us. We're all over the place. Salt Project is the largest, loyalist, most friendly open source community on earth, and you can find us on YouTube, GitHub, Slack, Twitch, Reddit, LinkedIn.
We're not seeing slides, Chunga, if you're sharing slides.
You're not seeing the slides. Well, and I was doing so good, wasn't I? I mean, my delivery was like...
I was painting a picture in my mind. It was beautiful.
It was glorious. There we go. How about now?
I could see the slides, but I still couldn't hear Wayne. Just FYI.
I don't know what happened there. Sorry, Wayne. All right. So anyway, you get the idea. That's where we're at. You can also find us on the Hacks podcast as well. You can access the Hacks at Apple Music, Spotify, Google, AWS. It's basically Amazon Music. Sorry, not AWS. And basically anywhere you find podcasts. So there you go. Today, in Open Hour, we have our general updates. We're talking a little bit about VMware Explorer. We've got some updates on support for SALT 3003. And then we'll just move down the list. I think it's pretty explainable there. I don't need to go through the whole thing. Open Hour happens every first and third Thursday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's Pacific time. If you're in the Mountain Time Zone, 11 to noon, and then you can do the math from there. So our next Salt Project Community Open Hour is going to be on September 1st. And as always, I'd like to remind you to join a Salt Project working group. We've got a bunch of them, a schload, if I dare say so myself, of different working groups for you to check out and become a part of. Very helpful to the Salt Core team and to everyone involved with Salt. VMware Explore, it's a huge tech expo, convention, whatever you want to call it, is happening August 29th through September 1st. In San Francisco, you can go to vmware.com/explore to check out all of the different sessions, the different events, and to get yourself registered if you haven't done so already. There will be an open source track that is being featured at VMware Explorer for the very first time ever, might I add. We're very excited about that because Salt Project and Item Project are going to be featured quite prominently. Shout out to Wayne Werner. Although we can't hear him currently, Wayne will be doing one of the breakout sessions with Tom Hatch, the guy who invented Salt. And that breakout session is going to be called Getting to Know Salt. You'll be happy to know, Wayne, that your session is nearly sold out. In fact, it is so popular, they've already booked it for VMware Explore Europe. So if you do want to be there and attend that session, it's almost sold out, you know, in quotes. We also have another breakout session, Solving the SRE Crisis with Item. Item Project is a powerful new open source project, and that will be led by Tom Hatch, Dave Boucher, and yours truly. I get to be in both of those. I'm excited about that. Okay, phase 3 support for SALT 3003. It ends on September 30th. As it enters its extended life support. There's the link. If you need the link, I know it's not hyperlinked here. If you need the link, just hit us on Slack and we'll make sure that you have it. The SALT project will not release any more point releases. Users will still have access to any documentation. The SALT project will provide ongoing best effort technical support for customers on existing installations. No bug fixes, security fixes, improved functionality, or root cause analysis will be provided. If some of you have questions for this, about this, we'll be sure to answer those in the Q&A section, so just hang tight. Also, a lot of questions about Tiamat and Wonder. Gareth is one of our experts here, and we have several of them. We're going to be talking more about this in detail on our next open hour on September 1st, excuse me. I almost said September 4th. September 1st, we're going to go into detail on this in this particular open hour. So make sure you're here if you have questions about the name switch and everything that happens there with Tiamat and Wonder. And again, shout out to Gareth. He spent a fair amount of time on this in our last open hour. That open hour session is in the Salt Project Community Open Hour playlist on YouTube. So you can go check it out there if you have any questions in the meantime. He did a fantastic job, by the way, of answering a lot. There are a bunch. So you can go view that and then get ready for the next open hour on September 1st. All right, Thomas Phipps. Oh, I did it again, Thomas. I'm so sorry. Thomas Phipps is here with Community Forums. Take it away, sir.
Yeah. So that's not what I had changed it to. My changes did not get added to here.
Just do your best.
Oh, well, basically, what had happened was somebody was having issues with Pillar, and it turns out it's the usual reason, putting way too much in Pillar that doesn't need to be there. So what I ended up doing was compiling a list of modules to help them build all of the information that they're building in Pillar within their states. Things like figuring out what modules a system runs and whatnot. But I was going to go over pretty much most of these on this session. The first one being sysmod.
Thomas, if you have slides, we can have you share your screen if you have slides that you want to discuss all this with. Do you need those?
I don't have slides.
Okay, gotcha.
I just have links to the documentation.
Okay.
Sysmod being a quick way of finding out what arguments a function takes, like package.install. You can run argspec against it, and it'll tell you what arguments it takes and what the default for those arguments are. Within Jinja, you can actually compare sys.list modules to find out if a module you need is loaded. If it's not, you can render in some Jinja to say, hey, install this thing and it'll be there for the next run. And things like that. And it contains a whole bunch of modules for just determining what's there, basically, and how to use it, as well as access to the documentation on the command line. The next module that I'm almost always asking people to use is Sls Util, which I usually mention Sls Util renderer. However, there are a ton of functions in here that are very useful for Jinja modules. There's Sls Util.banner, which can be used to generate a banner that can go on the top of your config files. And bool string if you need booleans to be certain values. Deserialize and serialize, which can be used to input and manipulate data. File exists, dir exists for seeing if files exist within the state tree, and a merge all, things like that. Let's see, the next one is the status module, which is useful for finding out information on the minion. It's analysis to the status beacon without actually having to send the information back to the master. Could be useful for finding out, what is your loads average? You can build reports off of this, basically. Finding out, hey, what's the master of this system? Return the connection status with master, status.master. Find out the memory information, status.meminfo, and things like that. You can also ping master find out what processes are running, find out what users are logged in with the W command, things like that. And that could be extremely useful in Java, or not Java, in Jinja for determining, you know, hey, are we loaded high or what's going on there? The next module is salt version. So you don't have to pull it out of the actual grains. You can actually, you know, get the release number, find out if you're greater than or less than, say, oxygen. Find out if you are on oxygen, you know, convert between the version numbers and the text versions and things like that. Next one is OS Query, which if you've ever used OS Query, you probably know exactly what that module is for. But basically a whole bunch of system information, if you have the OS Query system installed on your Minion, will allow you to basically pull all that information into Jinja, so you can do whatever you want with that. Next one is the network module, which I have a love-hate relationship with the IP information and grains. It exists, but I much prefer pulling from the network module because I can manipulate the data a lot faster using that, as well as trim it down. So I don't have to know what device I'm on. I can just do, hey, is this system in a subnet? Yeah, yes, no. What is the interface? I don't need an interface, so why don't I just pull the IP adders against a CIDR? And things like that. It just, I always find it a lot more helpful than trying to get the IP information out of brains, as well as a lot quicker. The next one is a module people just miss, even though it's been in there for a long time. And that is the match module, which is basically a module with functions for each kind of targeting data. There's compound data, glob, grain PCRE, CIDR, list, PCRE. And what each function will do was tell you if this minion matches that target. So you can use it for basically targeting within Jinja files. It'll also allow you to, it also has a filter by function, so you can filter a machine by whether this, or filter a YAML by whether this machine matches particular targeting data. Which, pretty useful stuff. The next module after that is one people need to use a lot more, and that is the log module, useful for logging data in your Minion from your Jinja. So if you want to test out, hey, what does this value equal? Or if you want to evaluate it every time during a run, log it. And this will show up in your Minion logs or in your master logs if it's in orchestration. Let's see, where was I? And then there is the defaults module, which works off of defaults.yaml. It'll automatically load a defaults.yaml in a certain location and allow you to deep copy or get information out of it. It'll also let you merge. I thought there was a filter by in there. Apparently not. But it'll also let you update. It's basically a module for working with defaults.yaml. I post that one. I did not. And the final module I'm going to talk about today is one that's coming in 3005. And that is a YAML module, which only has one function in it, lint. So it'll allow you to basically lint YAML. And it does have an option so you can pass to a Jinja filter so that it'll render the Jinja before it tries to get YAML, to lint the YAML. But it'll basically return, if there is a problem with your YAML, it'll tell you what it is. And it's just so you don't have to go to a YAML linter offline just to figure out what's going on. You can do it from within Salt now. Well, when 3005 drops, you'll be able to. And that was the last module.
All right, very good. Thank you, Thomas. Is that it? Is there more?
That was it.
All right, well done, sir. Much appreciated. All right, moving right along now to our Q&A section. Does anyone have any questions about phase 3 or anything that Thomas talked about, Tiamat, Wonder, anything that we've discussed? Any questions at all? No?
I can give an update on the release.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
So 3005, we had updated last week that we need to adjust the release date. So we're making some good progress. Right now, we're just finishing up some testing. And if that testing passes, actually, we've also started packaging right now. So I'm thinking early next week. As long as the manual testing passes, I'm going to send out an update through Salt Announce that our new date is early next week.
And that release will involve the Wonder Tiamat change as well, correct?
Yes. So we're going to be providing both what we're referring to as classic packages, which is the way that we've always provided, and Wonder. And Wonder is, we're still providing RPMs, debs, and so forth. It's just the internals have changed so that Python is also included. And you don't even need to have Python installed on your system for them to work. So that is one of the bigger changes coming up. And like Chunga said, we're going to go into a more detailed session on September 1st around all of that.
All right, awesome. Anybody else?
Hi, I had a support question. My name is Rory Gagan. I posted this on the general chat room, but I wanted to badger you guys also with it. We're trying to use, we use Pillar Cache backend disk on our setup, and we've been seeing issues where we try to refresh the pillars on the master, and sometimes it'll stay with the stale data, and we have to refresh again to get the newest data. And it happens very intermittently. And from what I gather from the code, the pillar cache, the pillar is built and stored in a message pack on disk. And then all the clear cache does is it overwrites those message pack files per minion with sort of a message pack of an empty dictionaries effectively. But looking in the code, there's support, if the files don't exist, it basically assumes there's no cache. So instead of using pillar.clear pillar cache, would it be a better idea just to remove those files with an RM? And if I do that, is that forward compatible?
Can you elaborate? So you're having to run refresh pillar manually?
No. Well, it's before the refresh pillars. I have to run pillar dot clear pillar cache multiple times.
So I put in a PR. I believe it'll be in 3005. Let me point to it. This might resolve it for you. It's been a while since I've looked at this, so I can't remember what the exact issue was. But the issue was that when they ran refresh pillar, the pillar cache actually wasn't updating the pillars. So I think that might be what you're running into. And here's the issue. Post that as well.
Let me see. Oh, sorry, that's an issue created by somebody in my company. Yes, that's basically yes. Go figure. So we do the clear pillar. So from what I gather from your PR is basically you do before you do refresh pillars, you're doing the clear pillar cache step.
I believe so. Like I said, it's been a while.
It's relatively complicated. Sorry, when I was digging through code, and just looking at the clear pillar cache, it's relatively complicated in that it's trying to overwrite a file with like an empty cache, like so the dictionaries of the effectively empty dictionaries. But I see there's support in the code where if the file doesn't exist, it assumes the cache is empty. Could I just remove those Minion pillar cache files on the master?
I'm not sure. I would imagine if you remove it, it's just going to generate the cache again, right?
Yeah. Well, basically, it looks for the. Let me see if I remember. It looks for the existing cache. If it's not there, then it goes to pillar.build, so that it goes to all the pillar files on disk and builds it, and then saves it to disk. Anyways. So yeah, it should, well, from my reading in the code and my experimentation, it should work. But I'm wondering, is that like a feature that'll be supported in the future? Or is that an edge case that might disappear?
In terms of making sure that's done and you don't have to manually remove it?
No, well, yeah, that would be the ideal. But also, if I do remove those files, that will that work in the future, right? If I'm right now I'm 3004, but if I upgrade to 3000, like, is that a feature, or is that just an accidental side effect?
So my understanding is this PR will resolve it. If you want to open up an issue though with like details on how to replicate it, I'm willing to test it out for you if you don't have an infrastructure to test out.
Yeah, we only see it on really large clusters too, which is annoying, and it's intermittent. Like it's a handful of times, like maybe every few months we see it.
Hey, let me try to clarify it. I think what Rory is trying to say, and we from the same company. Hey, it was my issue. Yeah, like the thing is, like our current assumption is like maybe the pillar drop cache logic is overcomplicated. And the question is, if, for example, we introduce a logic which will optionally not like this, like truncate via empty message pack like data, but just remove files from a file system to drop the cache. If this functionality is something A, reasonable, B, will be accepted.
Go ahead and open up an issue with the details. Then I can dive into the code a little bit more. Like I said, it's been a while and I've only touched that code 1 or 2 times. And then I can look into seeing if we'd accept something like that. Does that work?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, cool. Also, what I noticed, sorry, and by I don't know if this might be a real bug. If I corrupt those cache files, if I just add junk to it, Salt raises an exception and can't read the cache at all. And basically, when I render a state, it acts as if the pillar cache is empty. And I don't know if there's any way to fix that from Salt itself. Like if I clear the caches afterwards, if I do clear pillar cache, it doesn't fix those cache files on disk. They're still corrupted. Would that be interesting as a bug?
It would be interesting. Yeah.
Cool.
Go ahead and open it up. I'm
you,
willing to dive in.
Let me write that up for you on GitLab. Oh, it's on GitHub,
Okay.
sorry. And
Yeah.
like that I can actually reproduce, and it's relatively simple. I never run an example.
Okay. And then just ping me on the issue. Mine, I just posted my name there. It's Shell CH3LL. And I can take a look at that. Most likely it'll be post we get this release out, but I'm more than willing to take a look at this.
Cool. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I just need to refresh myself on that code, so it'll be useful to be able to look at it.
Thank you, Rory. Glad you're here, man. You're always welcome. And if you didn't get your stuff resolved, we'll see you on the 1st. And we'll keep going until we get it handled. Any other questions? Anything? Going once, going twice. You know, it's really unfortunate that we can't hear Wayne, because I'm sure that that he would have had some great jokes.
Is it any better now?
Oh, hey, we can hear you. Wow, that's great. That's fantastic. Wow, Shane, you're off the hook for this week anyway. Wayne, if you would, sir. Welcome back, by the way. Wayne is he's been out for a couple of weeks. Glad you're still with us, dude.
Yep.
And let's have our send off, if you would, sir.
So I know you're a Star Wars Disney fan, so this one's for you, Chunga.
All right.
What did Yoda say when he saw himself in 4K?
I don't...
HDMI.
Wayne Werner, ladies and gentlemen. Very good. All right. Well, listen, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and call this one done. But be sure to be back here on September 1st for the next Salt Project Community Open Hour. We got some stuff to go through on the next one. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Wayne. Glad you're back. And we'll see you on September 1st, everybody. Bye.
Bye.